Good morning. Today we're going to talk about the spread of Islam. Now, a couple things you need to remember is that Islam is a Middle Eastern religion, and that Muhammad will be the prophet of Islam. Remember that it's one of the Abrahamic religions, so it springs from Abraham and his lineage, but it is carried through Ishmael, and then you have the prophet Muhammad who is going to spread Islam. What's going to happen in the Middle Ages is that Islam is going to become a large religion. It's going to expand throughout Europe and Northern Africa and even in the Middle East. And what you need to keep in mind is that with Islam, that their God, his name is Allah, they have different beliefs. Like, they don't have separation of church and state, that their religion is included in their government, which would be a theocracy. So Ms. Cannon's going to get started, okay? So after Muhammad's death, remember Muhammad is the spreader of Islam, you're going to have Abu Bakr, which is Muhammad's close friend, and Umar, which is Bakr's successor. A successor is someone who, after a person has stepped down or an individual who has passed away, they pick up where they have left off. Now, what they're going to do is these two individuals will expand Islam quickly, okay? And when someone takes your place in leadership, in Islamic culture, they're called a caliph, okay? And they rule the caliphates, all right? So when you're looking at this area, you can see that Islam in the purple here, this is at the death of Muhammad in 632. And then after some conquest, you can see that it's expanded. And then even in these green areas, they have expanded with the Umayyad caliphs, okay? And you can see this is Africa. This is the Middle East. And this is some of the Byzantine Empire over here, okay? But even Spain, and remember that Spain was taken over by the Moors, is what the Christians called them, okay? Moving on. So there's going to be conflict. There's going to be division, all right? Oh, no. So what's going to happen, first and foremost, is that Abu Bakr is going to go versus Ali, which is the cousin of Muhammad, okay? And then eventually you will have a rivalry between Ali and the Uthman, which he's supported by the Umayyad dynasty, okay? And what's going to happen is that the Umayyad family is unpopular, okay? And they were reluctant to convert to Islam, and they were at the time an enemy of Muhammad, okay? And the Uthman is killed, and Ali becomes the caliph, okay? So understand that Uthman right here had a rivalry with Ali, and Ali, he's going to get killed, and Ali is going to become the caliph, so he's the leader. But then he is killed, okay? So ultimately, the Umayyad family will win control in running Islam and their empire, okay? Now, the Umayyad Caliph, which is Muawiyah, he calls his supporters the Sunnis, okay? And the Sunnis are known to be the followers of the Prophet. The Prophet would be like Muhammad, okay? They follow the Prophet. And when we talk about Ali's group of Muslims, they are called the Shias, okay? And they are the party of Ali. What you have to understand is that the Muslim religion in these moments right here, these Sunnis and these Shiites, they are splitting, okay? One group is going to be the followers of the Prophet, Muhammad, and then the other group is going to be the followers of Ali, okay? So you have two different branches within one religious group. Understand that. So you have Sunnis and the Shiites, okay? And they are still fighting today. Later in class, we're going to read an article about the Sunnis and the Shiite, and you'll understand a little bit more about their background, how they have split, and what is going on in the world today as far as them and the Muslim religion. Moving on. Here is a chart that will show you the clash of the sects when we talk about the Shiite and the Sunnis. And if you look, you have a Shiite percentage right here, like 45 in Lebanon, 45% Syria, Iraq, and Iran. And these are your Middle Eastern countries: Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, and all those areas, okay? And it shows you the percentage of which group is where, okay? But remember, the Shiite and the Sunni are still Muslims. It's just two different sects or branches, okay? Here is a map of the Middle East. Remember that Saudi Arabia is the Arabian Peninsula. You have Iraq and Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, all of these areas here, and Turkey, and over here would be Egypt. And this map is showing the Sunni Arabs and where Al-Qaeda is located, the Shiite, Persian, Iranians. All of this area is showing where the Sunnis and the Shiite break down in the Middle Eastern region. All right, now we're going to talk about the Umayyad dynasty, okay? When we talk about the Umayyad dynasty, they're going to establish control. So Arabic is their official language. They have a uniform currency, which when we talk about a uniform currency, that means that they have the same type of money, like coinage or bills. Also, they have Islamic architecture. Remember, architecture deals with buildings, sculptures, things like that. And here's the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. So if you notice, they do have the dome architecture. They also have columns. Remember, we learned about that with the Greeks, and then archways, which they got probably from the Romans, okay? That is an example of cultural diffusion. Moving on, the Umayyad dynasty is going to expand their empire to China, India, Africa, and Spain. Remember, I told you that the Moors are going to be located in Spain. Now, the significance of the Umayyad dynasty is that the biggest thing is that they are spreading the Muslim faith. Throughout Europe, Africa, China, India, they're spreading their faith and their religious beliefs, and people are converting to Islam. Now, here's the decline. They will have the Shiite opposition. So, what's going to happen is that the Shia are going to rebel against the Umayyad dynasty. Also, the conquered people that the Umayyad have taken over, they will rebel as well. And the Abbasid family is going to unite with the rivals of the Umayyads. So the Umayyads are going to slowly be taken out as a dynasty, and the Abbasids are going to rise as the reigning family. So what you understand is that they have Shiite opposition, the conquered people that they have taken over rebel against them, and the Abbasid families unite with their rivals. So the Abbasids are trying to take control. Now, on your handout, the blank you should fill in should say the Abbasid dynasty, and in the boxes, the first box will be established control. So what these guys are going to do is the Abbasid family is going to move the capital to Baghdad, okay? They're going to have a Persian style of government with a vizier, a caliph, and they're going to be segregated from the public, but it's kind of like a bureaucracy, okay? And when we talk about what they're going to do, they're going to spread Islam, but they're going to spread it through trade. Okay, so it's word of mouth because these people are interacting and trading with each other on the Silk Road and all these areas, and they're going to spread their faith through trade. The next thing, though, that's going to happen is eventually they will have a decline. The states, like little state areas, are going to break away from the caliph. The Sunni Muslims are going to rebel, and Christians are going to fight with the Muslims. Okay, Christians are going to believe that Jerusalem is the Holy Land of Jesus Christ, and the Muslims reside there during this time because they believe that that is also their Holy Land with Muhammad and Allah. And so the Christians are going to believe that they must go into the Middle East and take Jerusalem back as theirs and for the Christian faith. So this is going to start a war. And we will get to that war actually tomorrow. When we talk about Islamic culture, what you understand about family and women. In Islamic culture, like I told you, their religion is not just they go to the mosque and pray. It is in their household. It is in their government. It's everywhere. Their religion is omniscient. It just covers it all. So when we talk about it, men are going to be the head of the home, and they could have many wives. Big thing about Islam, though, is you can only have as many wives as you can support. The Quran says men and women are equal under Allah. Women can even seek divorce. Under the Abbasid dynasty, though, women are going to wear a veil, and they will be segregated from men, okay? When we talk about their education, I know this looks like a lot. Don't be overwhelmed. They translated the ancient works. They have astronomy and math. I would highlight astronomy and math, and they're very big on lunar phases. Lunar is dealing with the moon, and they use calendars. Also, they invented the astrolabe. You need to make a note of what the astrolabe is, and it finds the position of the stars, planets, and it's used to like calculate the time of day. It will also later help with navigation. They also started algebra and trigonometry. And then you have Ibn Khaldun, which he wrote the history of the world. And he warned against the basic errors like bias. Bias is something we have talked about in history class, how you cannot be biased. You cannot put your opinion in things. Also, they had a pharmacy and medical schools. So keep in mind, astrolabe is very important. It's going to come up later in the next unit. And that's the astrolabe right there. Looks very complicated. Moving on, the literature. They have the Quran, and then they have 1001 Nights, which is the Arabian Nights. It's about a woman who makes the caliph fall in love with her so she won't be executed. He constantly takes women and he will be with them for a while, and then he will have them executed because they don't please him. But what she does is she lures him in with a story, and every night she leaves the story to have to be continued to the next day, and eventually he falls in love with her and keeps her alive. Also, the story of Aladdin comes from the Arabian Nights. So if you've ever seen Aladdin Disney movie, there's your original story right there. Very interesting, right? Also, art. They do not paint people or animals. In Islamic culture, they don't paint people or animals because they are afraid of idol worship. If you're confused about idol worship, it's worshiping something beyond God, like a person or anything like that. So what they do paint is geometric and floral patterns, okay? Geometric like shapes, floral like flowers. They also use calligraphy, which is a beautiful style of writing. And they also built mosques, which are domes and minaret towers. The mosque is where they worship Allah and their God. Remember we talked about them praying 5 times a day? It's happening in the mosque, okay? If they can make it to the mosque. They're facing Mecca. Remember all those things that we've learned. So when we talk about Islamic art, there's a clear difference between European art and Islamic art, because Islamic architecture and artwork is going to be patterns and floral prints, whereas European art is going to focus on people, animals, all types of things, okay? And here's an example. Mosque here, and then there you have your geometric shapes and patterns. You can see the pentagons, hexagons, circles, stars, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So you're never going to really see a picture or anything telling a story. You're going to see lots of geometric shapes with Islamic art. Now, tomorrow we will pick up with the Crusades. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to rewind or fast forward or go back, and make sure that if you have a question, write it on the side of your notes so you can ask Miss Cannon. And thank you.